The HOA president cornered my daughter at the bus stop and tried to charge her a $50 non-resident fee. Said the bus stop was a neighborhood privilege. 2 minutes later, she was in handcuffs. Yeah, she picked the wrong dad to mess with. I'm the chief of police. But I guess I should start from the beginning. I'm Lucas Morris, 61, a small-town cop who's supposed to be easing toward retirement. These days, my biggest cases usually involve raccoons in attics or teenagers thinking stop signs are optional. All I really want is peace, hot coffee, quiet mornings, and time to watch my 9-year-old Lucy grow up. Peace. That word used to mean something to me. Until the screaming started. That morning I was halfway through my first sip when I heard a voice sharp enough to curdle milk. A woman was yelling at my kid. My Lucy standing at the corner clutching her backpack like it might shield her. The woman, of course, her name was Karen, was waving a clipboard and some laminated paper in Lucy's face. Big pink QR code right in the middle. Private bus stop. Members only pay the fee or leave, she screeched. I walked over, slow coffee still in hand. Morning, I said calm. Where do I buy a membership? The gift shop. She didn't laugh. Fees are collected by an officer, she snapped. Behind her stood 2 sidekicks, a doughy guy in a white tracksuit tucked into his socks and a scrawny kid who looked like he still had a curfew. That's me, the doughy one said proudly. Officer Brad. Badgeless officer, I corrected. Karen's eyes narrowed. Mr. Morris, I've seen your car. You live on the other side of Willow Creek, outside the HOA boundary. Your daughter's been using this stop illegally. Illegally, I repeated, sipping my coffee. That's quite a word for a school bus. She jabbed at the QR code. Non-resident fee. $50 a week retroactive to the start of the school year. My cop brain started counting the weeks, the money, the scam. My dad brain looked at Lucy's tiny shoulders shaking under that backpack. I wanted to roar, but I didn't. You don't swat a fly with a sledgehammer, you let it land, then close the jar. So I smiled. Do you take credit cards, or is it cash only for this official transaction? She puffed up with pride. Scan the code, she said. We're a modern, efficient organization. Sure you are, I thought. Efficient at fraud. I played dumb, let her think she'd won, then walked Lucy to the bus, pretending nothing was wrong. But inside, something twisted. That night, I told my wife, Laura, what happened. She's an IT wizard, kind heart, sharp mind, and a temper that only shows when someone messes with our kid. Her eyes went cold when I said the word QR code. Within minutes, she had the photo a neighbor took of the notice. Let's see where this rabbit hole leads, she murmured. Turned out the link led to a half-baked website called Gravehaven Estates Compliance Portal. A payment page, nothing more. Laura dug deeper. The payments funneled straight into a personal account linked to a P.O. box rented by Surprise K. Truman. My stomach sank. This wasn't just a busybody, it was a full-on shakedown operation. Over the next few days, I watched Karen's little empire in action. Fake violation slips on neighbors' doors. Unapproved mailbox color. Improper lawn symmetry. People paid just to shut her up. And the worst part, they were scared of her. I started questioning myself. Maybe I was overreacting. Maybe confronting her would just make things worse for Lucy. I'd spent my whole career telling people to pick their battles. Maybe this one wasn't worth the fight. Then Lucy asked Dad, "Will that lady be at the bus stop again tomorrow?" Her voice was small, scared. That did it. No one makes my daughter afraid to go to school. Not on my street. Laura smiled when I told her I was done playing nice. About time, she said. Let's burn it all down. We set the trap together. She cloned Karen's fake payment page and made me a phony receipt transaction ID reading N0TAR3AL H0A. I recruited a couple neighbors, Mark, whose phone Karen had slapped, and Maria, a mom she'd find for her kids' sidewalk chalk art. They'd wear button cameras. I called my old partner at the county bus department. Pull last week's footage from bus 7, I said. Public safety concern. He didn't ask questions. He knew that tone. By dawn the next morning, every piece was in place. Deputy Miller parked half a block away, engine off. Laura rallied the parents in the neighborhood chat. Everyone show up at the bus stop today. Let's make it a community morning. When the clock hit 8:10, the circus arrived. Karen rolled up in a blinding pink tracksuit, clipboard in one hand, flanked by Brad and Rick again. Brad lugged a bright yellow wheel boot like he was towing authority itself. Rick carried a satchel of orange violation stickers. "Attention," Karen barked. "We are conducting a compliance sweep." She pointed at Maria's van, 2.5 inches from the curb. "Tier 2 violation." Brad booted. Brad hesitated. "It's a minivan, ma'am." "Do your job," she screamed. He dropped the heavy boot right on his own foot. The clang echoed across the street. Parents chuckled. Karen pretended not to notice. She turned to a little boy with a Spider-Man backpack. "That's not an approved color palette?" "Confiscate it, Rick." The boy's father, Dave, a mountain in work boots, stepped forward. "Try it," he said quietly. Rick froze. Everyone could smell the fear. Then Karen's eyes found Lucy. I saw the smile spread across her face, sharp and mean. "And you!" She started marching toward my daughter. "Don't," I said, just one word, low and flat. "Rules are rules," she snapped, reaching forward. I shifted between them. "Here's one for you, keep your hands to yourself," Rick whispered to Brad. "Is breathing loud?" a rule, Brad muttered. "Probably tier 3. I pulled out my phone, showed Karen the fake receipt. "See, paid this morning, right there. Transaction ID N0TAR3ALH0A. She squinted at it, lips moving as she tried to make sense of the gibberish. Confusion turned to rage. Then the cavalry arrived. Not mine yet, just the neighborhood's. Doris, the crossing guard, 70-something, and built like a retired sergeant, marched in waving her stop sign. "Karen Truman, are you bothering these children again? This is county property. Move it, or I'm citing you for loitering." From across the street, the Henderson twins popped up behind their rose bushes. "We're witnessing it," one shouted. "Alibi," yelled the other. Buddy Eli from the food truck wandered over, handing me a cup of coffee. "Looks like the circus started early," he said loud enough for Karen to hear. "Are the clowns unionized?" The crowd laughed. Karen's control slipped another inch. She jabbed her clipboard at Rick. "Confiscate that backpack now." Rick gulped and took one reluctant step. Dave didn't move, just said, calm as a storm, "Touch my son's property, and you'll need pliers to get that clipboard back." Rick stopped cold. Karen lost it. She shoved past him, reaching for the backpack herself. Dave blocked her arm, firm but gentle. "Don't touch my son." The crowd surged forward. Parents closed in, phones up, cameras rolling. Brad dropped the wheel boot again and held up his hands. "I'm not with her." It was beautiful chaos, suburban justice ready to boil over. Time for the finale. I stepped into the circle. "Ma'am," I said softly, "that's enough for one morning." Karen spun toward me, eyes wild. "Who do you think you are? You're nobody. You should be arrested." I smiled, the small, dangerous smile I save for people who've already lost. "Funny you should say that," I told her. Mark, still filming, called out, "Got her demanding money, threatening kids, all in 4K. Maria waved her phone, and her ordering that boot on my van. Karen's face drained of color. "And one more thing," I said, holding up my phone. "County clerk's office confirms there is no registered HOA here. Not now, not ever." Speakerphone crackled. "Confirmed, Chief," said Pam from the clerk's office. The word chief hit like a grenade. Silence rippled through the crowd. A black and white patrol car rolled up behind me. Deputy Miller stepped out, calm as a summer breeze. "Morning, Chief," he said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "We saw the videos. Ready when you are." Karen froze. The pink tracksuit, the clipboard, the arrogance, it all crumbled in one heartbeat. "Seize the tote," I told Miller. "Photograph everything." I reached into her bag, pulled out one of her laminated notices, and flicked the corner. "You know, Karen, I've seen some creative forgery in my day. This isn't one of them." From my vest pocket, I took out a chunky self-inking stamp, hot pink ink, a gag gift from Laura. I pressed it down hard on her fake violation slip. K-Chunk. When I lifted it, a single word glowed across the page. Void. Another. Ka-chunk. And another. Pink voids blooming like flowers. The crowd laughed, the tension snapping like a rubber band. Miller stepped forward. "Karen Truman, you're under arrest for fraud, harassment, and attempted theft." She started wailing. "This is a misunderstanding. I was just upholding standards." I leaned close, low enough that only she could hear. "Quick tip," I said. "Real community leaders don't shake down 9-year-olds for bus money." Miller guided her to the patrol car. I called out, "Hey, Miller, hit the siren for me, would you?" He grinned and gave it a cheerful double. Bloop bloop. Not a cry of danger, more like a victory song. The parents erupted. Doris blew her whistle like a parade marshal. Buddy raised his coffee. Free sprinkles for good behavior. The Henderson twins shouted their verdict. Justice alibi. I didn't smile. Not yet. Watching Karen Truman, the self-crowned queen of our street, being driven away, I just felt still. The kind of quiet I'd been craving, the kind that finally meant peace again. Because peace isn't the absence of noise, it's what happens after you make the noise that needed making.